Inshallah and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings, and welcome to Meet Me for Coffee. Today's guest is Leah McQuade, and she is a master coach, a breathwork facilitator, an embodiment expert, which we all need that, yoga, of course, a yoga teacher, and we are all succulent wild women, but she is just a wild woman, but I bet she's succulent too. She's been obsessed with human optimization and growth for as long as she can remember, probably her earthly existence. She's got a passion for helping people overcome obstacles, tap into their potential, and create a life they love. We're both on similar categories here, but Leah has had a profound healing experience at her first breathwork ceremony in Bali, of all places, where she knew it was her calling to lead others through this life-changing modality. She's been facilitating in person and virtual breathwork and coaching sessions for 4 years. She loves holding space for her clients to break through old patterns, probably the energetic kind, also the habitual thinking, and just releasing things that have actually been holding them back for probably way too long, like the dark ages, because we're all coming out of that right now. But her coaching and her breathwork sessions have really assisted and helped countless people discover who they are authentically and just rising above their circumstances, just allowing them to come away from the session with greater clarity and focus, feelings of relaxation, calm, lightness, even an enhanced ability to be present in the very moment, in the now, which is a lot. So with all of that, let's welcome Leah and let her share some insights into what exactly breathwork is and like what could somebody expect to experience in a breathwork session as well.
Yeah, great. Hi, Tonya. I'm so happy to be here with you all. And breathwork is a passion of mine. And I love leading people through breathwork because of the profound changes that can happen when we sit through a breathwork session. And so I first want to discuss what breathwork is. Oftentimes people hear of the term breathwork and they think of breath of fire, or alternate nostril breathing, or the mindfulness breathing that we do that takes our breath really deep and helps us get more relaxed and mindful. And although that is breath work, the breath work that I speak about is a transformational experience. And in the breath work that I offer people, we encourage the linking of the breath. We encourage one breath moves directly into the other breath. And in this type of breath work, it allows us to move out of our conscious mind and into our unconscious mind. So 95% of our habits, 95% of our behaviors, and how we show up in the world come from a place of unconsciousness. So we're not really conscious about how we're showing up in the world and what is causing us to continue in these stuck patterns and continue doing the things that we really don't want to do. And so breathwork can help us shift out of that conscious mind and into the unconscious mind. And it's in that unconscious mind that we can start to unravel and unwind and start to heal these things that sit within our unconscious. And some things that you can expect in a breathwork session is going to be really dependent upon each individual. So you can experience these expansive, otherworldly, spiritual, enlightenment sort of experiences where you see angels and you see your fairies and you see ascended masters, and you can have that lovely experience that's extremely spiritual in that way. And then you can also have more of a physical experience where you're moving the body and you're using movement and sound and also the breath, of course, to help move the energy within. And so any stuck emotions, any stuck energy, you can use your physical body to help move that out, along with the breath, of course. So it can be a really physical experience as well, where you're moving your body in ways that maybe you've never really moved your body before. And then, like I said, it can be emotional. So you can experience all of the emotions in one 60-minute breathwork session, right? You can experience anger and rage. You can experience sadness. You can experience joy. You can, experience all of the emotions in one session. And then it can also be mental, and it really depends on where you're at as you step into the breath work ceremony and breathwork session, and where you're at in your life, and where you need to move to, and what needs to be cleared out of your system for you to really step fully into your fullest potential. And so the breath is your guide. And so each session is so different. And when you step into a session and it's mental, sometimes it's just accepting that the person next to you is creating sound, and the person next to you might be emoting some heavy emotions. And for you, staying in your own experience might be the mental parts of the experience. And the mental experience, right, is just a part of what you might encounter it. And it's all about really taking the breath to the edge. So the edge will actually be, right, important in experiencing the fullness of a breathwork session, is allowing yourself to go to that edge. And that's what a breathwork session is really designed for, is to take you to that edge. And it's in that edge where you'll discover the magic, right? So it allows you to really get out of your comfort zone and pushes you to the edge. And this is where the magic happens in a breathwork ceremony, in a breathwork session.
So it sounds like it really doesn't matter what age you are. I think a lot of people don't breathe properly in the first place, right? We forget how to breathe properly. We know how when we're babies, but then all of a sudden we become conditioned into the societal roles of holding in the pooch instead of letting the pooch out, right? Or overly letting the pooch out and not moving the belly at all. So it's almost like it's its own magical dance.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It definitely is a dance. If you are open and willing to let the breath be the guide, it'll take you where you need to go. And so I always recommend and really help my clients get into a space of openness and get into a space of accepting of whatever comes up in a session, because whatever is coming up is exactly what needs to be moved through in the moment.
So, what are some, like, I'm sure there's a variety of things somebody might experience just doing breath work, but do you think, like, does it need to be an hour, or like, are there baby steps? Like, you start with like a 5-minute ritual and then you move it into an hour over time and space? Or,
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. So I think first and foremost, this type of breath work, I really recommend doing it with a trained practitioner, somebody who has experience, because it's really not, this type of breath work really isn't for everybody. There is some physical things to think about, right? Because it can be physical. So you got to have a strong heart, and not have any sort of surgeries, right? And so those are two important things. And then also, you don't want to be struggling with any sort of mental um, uh, illnesses at the moment where you're taking prescriptions, because it can be really mental, and it can throw off the balance of the energy within. It's really important that that you're not on any sort of medication for some mental illnesses at the moment, right? And so it's not actually, this type of breath work isn't actually for everybody, everybody. So that's just something to really take into consideration. And having said that, it's really important to have a trained practitioner, somebody who facilitates this and has done this and knows what to look for, to help people stay in the experience, not leave their body and not return, because that can be a thing. And then also there's some things to look for around the body positioning and things like that. But other than that, in those kind of conditions, it really can be for anybody who's really looking to transcend that unconscious thinking and begin to look at patterns and beliefs and habits and who really wants to look at the edge and go to the edge, and in that space really begin to look at the healing that could transform their lives.
So you're more talking about shamanic breath work, correct?
Absolutely, yes. I did learn from a somebody who is the lineage of the shamanic healers. However, there's also ecstatic and holotropic type breathworks out there that are very similar as well. And so I kind of take what I learned from the world of shamanism, and then also what I've learned from the ecstatic and holotropic worlds as well. And I kind of blend my own techniques and have my own ways of leading and facilitating based on all three of those.
So is this something you do like one on one, or is it like a group thing? It sounds like it could be either or.
Yeah, it can be done within groups. And traditionally, if you think back to how it was traditionally done, yeah, it's in groups, but then also individual as well. And so I like to do individual and link that with coaching. So we can really get to understand what it is that you in particularly are dealing with or struggling with or have challenges with, and we can incorporate that into the breath work. And so it can be just a more profound and kind of tailored experience for you. And so I like to link those two together in my one-on-one work. And then I also do big groups, absolutely, in person or virtual big groups. So the other thing I just want to add here is the medicine that has been used for 1,000 years, thousands and thousands of years. So this type of breath work has been used for with indigenous people for thousands and thousands of years. So this has just been a form of healing for a long time. And we can take that wisdom, from our ancestors and use that today. And so it's powerful. It's really powerful. It's an ancient wisdom that I think we're just starting to, in our culture, really understand the profound and transformational kind of experiences that can be had with using the breath. I think we're just really stepping into this knowledge that's been around for thousands and thousands of years and really bringing it into our modern world.
So I totally agree. I think I work shamanically, energetically. I kind of merge those two worlds. Um, Breath work feels like it's part of, like, I work in the Dagara tribe, the Burkina Faso shamanism, the indigenous ways there. And it sounds like, I think even in Chinese medicine, breath work is more of the metals and the minerals. It's the lung, it's that aspect, the air beings of nature, the elemental beings and whatnot. Um, so with that, like, it kind of feels like you could bring in the other elemental realms in and through the breath to kind of do, like, I'm seeing like a cleansing aspect is happening through the breath, through the body, through the movement, through the transformation. Even the ancestors, you could breathe in an ancestor to life, maybe release a message that's otherworldly that most people need to hear and don't really know where it's coming from. It's probably in a profound kind of otherworldly way. It's kind of what I'm seeing in my visual perspective. So, like, I'm sure there's a billion reasons why somebody should experience and go into this realm. Whether it's like your feelings are unstable, or like the monkey in the mind is out of control, like depression, anxiety. Like, I'm just seeing all the things. I bet there's just like a variety of healing benefits, really, of just focusing on your breath for however long every morning, kind of a situation.
Yeah, so I think that type of breath, right, is important to engage in every day. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's really important to come to the breath and allow the breath to relax you, because there's been lots of study and research out there that demonstrates the power of a deep breath, a deep cleansing, relaxing breath. And so, of course, there's there's that element, just the element simply of tapping into the power of your breath every day. Oftentimes people who are experiencing anxiety will breathe from the chest, they'll breathe from up here. And so simply by taking a deep breath and breathing down into the belly, we stimulate the vagus nerve, which allows us to find that calm within. The vagus nerve has been linked to calmness and really coming back into the body and relaxation. And so when we take those deep cleansing breaths down into the body, it kind of massages that vagus nerve and allows us to relax. So that type of breath is important every day, absolutely. And to be really in tune with that is important. And that's aspect that I teach within my yoga practices and with my one-on-one clients. Who might be experiencing some nervousness, might be experiencing some anxiety, might be experiencing some overload within the nervous system. And that's a really good place to start. So if you're somebody who has never worked with the breath, it's a good idea to start there, absolutely. And then you can transition, right, to more shamanic type breathing, although you don't have to necessarily have this understanding in this relationship with the breath on a daily basis to go into a shamanic inspired breathwork session or ceremony. It does help, however, I find for the experience if you do have a connection to the breath. Mm-hmm.
So, with that, is there anything else that you'd like to share with my audience or share to the show?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I really enjoyed our discussion about breathwork. Breathwork has just been such a profound modality for me, and being able to shift, like I said, out of the conscious mind and into the unconscious mind. And I've had so many unique experiences in my journey through breathwork, and I've healed so much, and have been able to call in ancestors and speak to those who have passed away, and been really able to tap into a new dimension, a different dimension other than this 3D world that we live in through the breath. And oftentimes people will talk about the breath work ceremonies in this way, the ones that I we're speaking about today, being similar to plant medicine. And I want to just mention here that you can go to those places that you might go in a plant medicine journey and ceremony through the breath. The beautiful thing about the breath is that you have 100% control. You have control over how deep you want to go and how far you want the healing to go. And so it's really a beautiful modality in that way. You're not having to ingest a substance that really controls you in a lot of way, although very beautiful and lots of healing can happen through plant medicine. And I'm a big fan of plant medicine. Breathwork can get you there without having to take a substance that you're really that's really controlling you. And so I love breathwork in that way too. It's very profound and can offer a lot for people. And yeah, I would love to offer your listeners a free 30-minute session with me if they're curious about breath work, if they have any questions, if they're feeling activated in some way, if they're really stuck in some areas of their life and looking for ways to remove or stuck energy, or looking for ways to allow emotions to be expressed. Because remembering, emotions are energy in motion. So if we're stuffing our emotions, right, breathwork is a really good way to let them up and out and let them move out of the body. Or if they just are looking for an experience to take them to their edge and see what's there. Breathwork is really a beautiful opportunity for that. And I do really like to work with people who have never done breathwork before. I tend to have a real gentle way of guiding people into that. So I would love to offer your listeners a 30-minute free support call where they can ask me any questions around breathwork, and we can see if it's a proper fit for them. Yeah.
That's super exciting. I will actually, with all of that, I'm going to actually have that all in the show notes. So, inshallah, Ashe. Thanks for meeting me for coffee, and thanks for actually watching as well to the end. And again, as Leah said, she's offering my listeners a free 30-minute support call. I'll have the link in the show notes, so be sure to take the journey there because we all need some great breathing and some great breath work. Inshallah, Ashe.